Y'all, today we need to talk about an idea that Wizard101 seriously needs to add into the game. A Wizard City Bank. Now, this is not to be confused with the sorry excuse for a bank feature that we have in the game right now, where you can simply only transfer items between wizards on the same account. I'm talking about a new building in the commons where you could do things that people have been wanting to do for years. Store excess gold, transfer items with fewer restrictions, and even have new ways to spend gold that we currently don't have. Now, a Wizard City Bank, this is not a new idea. People have been wanting something like this for a while, but in today's video, I wanted to reimagine it in a way that it would work very, very well in Wizard101 in 2025. So what am I proposing at a practical level? I think they should get a gold symbol, slap it on one of the buildings in the commons, make a new building, and let us do things that we haven't been able to do before. The primary function of a Wizard City Bank, I think, would do what a lot of people have been wanting: store gold. Now, why do I think extra gold storage is so important? Because if you're anything like me, you're probably going between full gold and straight up broke all the time. Right now, this wizard, for some reason, actually has maximum gold. I think it's because I quested him recently. And when I'm near this gold cap, anything that I do, right? Side quests, farming, team up, anything that I want to do will basically make it so that any gold that I get overflows. I don't get any extra gold after I hit that 525,000 cap. And yet, considering how expensive treasure cards can get for things like PvP, and the fact that it's very, very likely that if you use a kiosk feature that you could burn through a fifth of the maximum gold just to get a fail pet, this gold cap is utterly stupid. Every single time I end up spending a lot of gold on something, I can't help but wonder about all the times I got that Zeke message telling me that I picked up a wee bit more than I could carry. That's a tilting ass message to receive because of how low the gold cap is. We're at max level and we have yet to find ways to spend gold or store gold in better ways. Now, why does Wiz already not have a gold vault or a gold storage feature? They have vaults for other things. Because right now what Wiz believes is that, right, if you have the maximum gold and you're sitting on it, it's because you're hoarding it and you don't have enough things to spend it on. But in my opinion, they could easily fix that issue with a bank. Imagine a world where you could store up to like 10 million gold in the bank. And in this exact same building, you could spend hundreds of thousands, if not millions of gold on things that you otherwise would have to spend other currency on. I think a very, very good example of this is what they try to do with Portal Apparel, but it literally bugged out, so no one can use this anymore. But they have all of these recipes already in the game that are currently unusable. They probably won't be usable for at least a year. Imagine if instead of fortune coins, which basically, right, you just have to run a bunch of gauntlets to get these. Imagine for just playing the rest of the game and getting gold, you could transfer maybe not 6 gold, but you know, maybe tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of gold to get things like Azov, to get things like TCs that you would use in PvP and PvE, right? All of these spellements, the random ones and the storyline spellements for your school, these are very, very useful if you buy them in bulk, because eventually you will get the ones that you want. Imagine if instead of fortune coins, you could spend a lot of your excess gold. Not only would you create a system where you could store excess gold and prevent the issue of just wasting gold, you would also immediately solve this hoarding issue that the devs clearly care about enough by having a very easy way to passively get things by just getting gold. The other problem that I think a bank, right, if they were to make a real bank, like a whole building in the commons for this, the other thing that I think they need to do is add a way to really, this needs to happen, to transfer items from one account to another. Now, this is a gigantic gripe that I have with this game because it genuinely doesn't even make financial sense for Wiz to do it like the way that they do. But if y'all don't know how the bank works, right, there's a shared bank. Essentially, this is all we could really do in terms of like a transfer. You could basically transfer anything that is allowed to be traded from one wizard to another wizard on the same account. Now, historically, this has been fine. This has gotten the job done. But then they started doing things like adding raids, which is very, very hard to like control what gear that you get. And spellements, where every single gold key boss that you farm for one spellment will give you spellements for 2 other schools, 3 other schools. Now, what if you have multiple maxes on multiple accounts? A lot of people like me that have been playing the game for a long time actually did this because you couldn't make 7 wizards on one account back in the day. To this day, I have my mint maxed out on one account and all my other 6 wizards on my main account. The issue that creates, right? By doing everything that I've been doing and accumulating all of these mid spellments, most of these are in the shared bank. But basically, right, because I've maxed out every spellment for every school on this account, by like passively, right, because of the ways that spellments work, right, you actually passively accumulate these. I also have enough to max out every single myth spell on any myth wizard. And yeah, my myth is on another account. The expectation, even though I pay 2 memberships, is that I do this this entire process where I max out all my spellments on this account, and then I gotta do it spell by spell again on my second account. For having 1 wizard on a second account, I'm basically doubling the amount of time it takes to max out every spellment on every wizard. And as if that's not bad enough, I'm still paying 2 memberships. And I did bring up raid gear because it's very, very relevant, right? Let's say that I did the Lemuria raid, right? And instead of this fire wand that I got for my fire, I got a myth wand. It is utterly useless, even though I went through the trouble of doing something as tedious as a raid. A Wizard City bank could and should solve this. Even if they don't like the idea of gold storage and all of this other stuff tied into a bank, being able to transfer items between the same owner, right, of 2 different accounts, that should be already a feature. I'm tacking this idea on because that's what banks are already used for in real life. It's not a stretch if they were to ever actually create a full-fledged system for you to be able to transfer things like raid gear, like spellments that you already have from one account to another, as long as you're the one that owns both of the accounts. They're literally actively incentivizing you as a player to not have multiple accounts. Like, the only advantage, as far as I can tell, for having 2 accounts at this point is that you could dual box, right? You can have 2 people on at the same time. It makes it easier to like quest, I guess. But if you're really trying to like 100% your account in terms of spellments, it is absolutely not worth having 2 accounts, and that's a problem that they've introduced with things like raids and spellments. It's not something they had before, and they haven't made a feature to correct it. Now, let's say that adding things like portal apparel recipes, or even things that are exclusive to this banking system, isn't enough of a funnel for the gold to go through, right? Let's say the devs are still very, very concerned about people hoarding gold. That's why we haven't had a raise in the gold cap. That's why we don't even have things like treasure card vaults, because they're scared that people will buy a bunch of treasure cards that are worth a lot of gold and essentially make their own little bank in the terms of like a treasure card vault. Let's say that's still a concern. Wiz could easily fix that as well by doing something like a community event. Now, what you see on your screen is like the community event that they tried for August with the Fantastic Fight Fest, and the idea there was that everyone does team up or talk to the NPC in Krokotopia, get a bunch of points, and the community accumulates points and unlocks recipes as they go. Imagine doing that with gold, right? The more gold that you put into this event, the more the recipes unlock. What I'll say, right? I think people that put a lot of gold should be getting better rewards than people that literally don't do anything. Like, maybe the whole community can get a small item if there's a big goal that's reached. Maybe like 100 million gold, 1 trillion gold, whatever, 1 billion gold, I don't know, whatever number they want to do. Right? Maybe everyone can get like, I don't know, something small, like, I don't know, like a snack pack or something. But if you were to put a 10 million gold into it, like, you know, like more than that, right? People that actually want to go and contribute, maybe they could get cool things like apartments in various worlds. They kind of tried that with the Krokotopia apartment and the Fantastic Fight Fest. Right, if y'all don't know, like, the Arcanum apartment isn't the only apartment that's in, like, a world that gives you a port into a world. They're actually doing this for a lot. They could add those for people that put a lot of gold into it. They could add cosmetics that are, like, literally made of gold, which I think is, like, a slam dunk ass idea. And it would also give very, very easy periodic ways for people to, like, I don't know, just have a way to passively spend their gold. There is an issue right now, in my opinion, where some people have way too much gold, and some people like me are really frustrated with just having enough gold to hit the cap, but then just wasting the gold until I need to use it. It's kind of a whack concept. I think there's 2 major parts of the community that would really, really benefit from this, and also, I just feel like it's something that would make Wiz more modern. If the idea is successful, they could easily do something even more where they could attach other things like interest for storing gold, maybe ways to loan it out. I don't know, the ideas are literally endless, but they gotta start with something like that, because otherwise you're never gonna fix this hoarding problem. You're never gonna fix the frustration that people have when they're playing for years and years and they're accumulating a lot of things like excess gold. Let me know what you guys think. Do y'all think that my ideas are good? Do y'all think they should implement them? What do y'all think of, you know, storing your gold, transferring items between wizards on different accounts, and also a community event that's based on gold that could unlock cool rewards that we currently don't have. I think all of those could easily work given what we already have in 2025, so I'd love to see if Wiz could try this idea. As always, I look forward to reading all of y'all's thoughts on this. Drop a like if you enjoyed, leave a sub if you're new, and as always, if somebody hasn't told you you're awesome today, they doing something wrong. Stay awesome, y'all. See y'all soon. And yeah.